We're here on a scheduled probable cause hearing for a motion to terminate community control sanctions. Defendant is here in court. He's with his attorney, Mr. William Watson. Mr. Watson, what's the defendant's intention at this time regarding the probable cause hearing?
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, after talking with my client, he is prepared this morning to not only waive the probable cause hearing, but also his final hearing and enter a plea of guilty and proceed straight to sentencing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner, you have been charged with violating the conditions of your community control sanctions, and specifically there are 4 alleged violations that you committed. The first is a Rule 8 violation, which prohibits you from using, possessing, or having under your control any controlled substance not prescribed to you by a licensed physician. And it's alleged here that on May 1st you submitted a urine sample that tested positive for marijuana. Subsequently, there's a Rule 1 violation which requires you to obey all local, state, and federal laws, and it's alleged that on May 10th you were charged by the Shaker Heights Police Department with weapons under disability, a felony charge. Subsequently after that, it's alleged that when you were arrested, a urine screen was obtained for you, which again tested positive for marijuana, which is a violation of Rule 8. And lastly, in regards to the incident in Shaker Heights, you also violated Rule 6, which prohibited you from purchasing, owning, possessing, or having under your control any firearm. And it's alleged that when you were arrested on May 10th by the Shaker Heights Police Department, you were in possession of a firearm. And your attorney has indicated, as you just heard, he believes your intention is to waive both hearings and plead guilty. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, before I can accept your waiver of the hearings and your plea of guilty, I need to make sure you understand the potential penalties you face if you are found to be in violation of the terms of your community control. I could continue on community control. I could extend your period of community control to a total of 5 years. I could impose more restrictive sanctions, including an order that you serve time in our Lake County Jail. Or I could terminate or end your probation and send you to prison. If I did that, it could be 6 to 18 months on count 1 and 2. Those could be consecutive to each other for an overall total of 3 years in prison. Do you understand all the potential penalties you face by pleading guilty by pleading guilty to these violations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, having been so advised, what do you want to do at this time? Do you want to have any of the hearings, or do you want to waive the hearings and plead guilty to the violations?
Waive my hearings and plead guilty to the violations.
The court will accept your pleas of guilty, find that you did violate. All right, Mr. Watson, any reason not to go forward with sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
Anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client?
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, very briefly, Mr. Gardner is a young man. Obviously, he's got a bit of a problem continuing to be around firearms. I understand that he has not only the new case that he picked up, but other cases as well. He's a young man. The brief moment I've had to talk to him, Your Honor, I think he could have a very bright future. His grandmother's here in support of him. You can see she's in tears, beside herself. I met her out in the hallway. I think Mr. Gardner needs to get some focus and some direction in his life. I know that he's potentially looking at a fair amount of prison time today. He's looking at up to 3 years. I'm hoping the court will take into account that he not only took responsibility at the underlying case, but he's taking responsibility today with the PV. He told me he didn't want to waste any time. So he's manning up today to the court saying, pleading guilty to these violations. And I'm hoping the court will take these factors into consideration and consider a minimum sentence in this case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Gardner, you have the right to address the court before your sentence. You can say anything you want. Is there anything you want to say at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I understand, and I know that I've made some mistakes that me or my family is not proud of. I've had a great job, a great position to where I can provide for my family for 8 months. And with me losing that job, it just it put me in a down spiral, and it led me to make some decisions that were not in the best interest of my future, Your Honor. It did not help me and put me in any type of better position to provide for my family, Your Honor. And I do have the job still waiting for me.
What job?
Northern Stamping?
Well, that's the job you lost?
Yes, I'm in position with HR to get my job back because
Why did you lose that job?
point system.
What's that mean?
I pointed out, but the manager, he wasn't accepting my he wasn't accepting my.
Well, I have reviewed the original pre-sentence report and investigation. Original drug and alcohol evaluation. I've considered the facts and circumstances of the underlying offense that brought us here initially, the nature of the probation violations that brings us here now. I've considered everything said here in open court. This is all considered in light of the purposes and principles of felony sentencing set forth in 292911 of the revised code. For the factors in 292912, I'm going to incorporate all the findings I made at the time of the original sentencing regarding the seriousness factors and the recidivism factors, with the additional finding today that the defendant has failed to comply with previously imposed sanctions ordered by this court, which is a factor indicating recidivism is more likely. The problem here isn't necessarily the positive screens. Obviously, you're not supposed to use marijuana, and you did, and if that was just the only issue, we could address that. But you're continuing just to commit the same offenses that brought you here to begin with. You are on, you committed the offense, the original offense, and while that was pending, you committed another one in Cuyahoga County, same exact type of offense. And then when you're on probation to me, you're still playing around with guns and committing the same offense. So you haven't learned anything in that regard. And if you're going to be on probation and commit the same offense that you're on probation for, you're not probationable. The court finds that at this point, defendant's no longer amenable to available community control sanctions, and that prison is consistent with the purposes and principles of sentencing. Therefore, it'll be the sentence of this court that on counts 1 and 2, defendant serve a term in prison of 16 months on each count. I'll run those concurrent for an overall total of 16 months with credit for 125 days he's already served. I need to advise you upon your release, you can be placed on post-release control for up to 2 years. If you are and you're violating those conditions, the parole authority can send you back to prison as punishment for violating the rules for another, the maximum being 8 months, 50% of the term I just imposed. Any additional prison term imposed for violating post-release control is being imposed as part of the sentence at this time. And the defendant's ordered to pay all costs incurred in this action. Mr. Watson, is there anything else for the record?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All rise.